request you all to get seated and get comfortable, and also turn your phones off if that's possible. We'll be starting the event very soon. We're just waiting on some government officials and the CG to come here and join us. So we'll be shortly starting this. Again, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ruthali Gandhi, and I'm the Secretary for IDCA. It is our pleasure to see all of you here at our first Trade Symposium. We'd like to extend a warm welcome, and I'd like to introduce our MC for the day, Aditi Lamba. Aditi is a news reporter at Spectrum News 1 Capital Region. Born and raised in Punjab, she's very proud of her South Asian roots and is dedicated to showcasing pioneers of the community and amplifying the diverse voices that we see as a journalist. So thank you, Aditi. I'd like to invite you on stage to kick off our event.
Thank you, Ruthali. Hello, everyone. Good morning. How are we doing today?
Good morning.
It is so nice to be here with you today at this amazing event. We are celebrating some pioneers of the community. We are talking about the India-US relationship when it comes to Diamond Trading Symposium. So it's very nice to have you here today with us. I would like to begin today the event with our very ceremonial lamp lighting, the Diya ceremony, which is often how we like to start all our Indian events. So on the stage, I would like to invite right now Consul General Randeep Jaiswal, Congresswoman Grace Meng, Commissioner Edward Mermelstein, Ms. Jamie Singleton, Mr. Ronnie Vanderlinden, Mr. Haridas Kotawala, Mr. Rajiv Pandya, Dr. Neeta Jain, and past presidents, Mr. Basant Johari, Mr. Kailash Rawat, Mr. Mehul Shah, Mr. Ashok Sancheti, and Mr. Nilesh Shet. Please come on the stage. Maybe please have a round of applause. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Ask everyone to please silence your phone, because we're trying to have an amazing event and hear everyone out and interact and connect. On the stage now, I'd like to introduce and invite Mr. Rajiv Pandya. He is the president of Indian Diamond and Colorstone Association. Mr. Rajiv Pandya, please come on the stage.
Thank you, Aditi. Dear friends and colleagues, a very warm welcome to our distinguished dignitaries, honorees, speakers, panelists, and guests to this first historic U.S.-India Jewelry Trade Symposium. On behalf of the IDCA membership and board, I would like to thank the Honorable Consul General Sri Randirji Jaiswal and the Consulate General of India, New York, for this historic opportunity to hold the symposium at the consulate. Thank you. Our heartfelt gratitude goes to Congresswoman Grace Meng, who represents New York in the United States House of Representatives, for her support of the Indian diamond jewelry industry and our community. Congresswoman Meng serves on the influential House Appropriations Committee. Thank you. Sincere thanks to Commissioner Edward Mermelstein from the New York City Mayor's Office of International Affairs for joining us today and recognizing the significant economic contribution that the Indian jewelry industry makes to New York City. Also joining us today are Deputy Consul General Dr. Varun Jep from the Indian Consulate and Deputy Commissioner Dilip Chauhan from the New York City's Mayor's Office. It's an honor to have Ms. Jamie Singleton, President and Chief Marketing Officer of Signet Jewelers, the world's largest jewelry retailer, as our industry keynote speaker today. Thank you. Our sincere gratitude to Mr. Ronnie van der Linden for his support and dedication to our industry. It gives me great pleasure, along with my fellow board members, to honor the finest in our community today for their outstanding contributions to the diamond, gemstone, and jewelry industry. Mr. Sunil Jain, Chairman, FEI. Mr. Sandeep Shah, President and CEO, Sandeep Diamonds. Mr. Tejas Shah, Chief Executive Officer, Unique Designs. Based in New York, in the heart of the Diamond District, our membership consists primarily of global diamantaires, colorstone dealers, and jewelry manufacturers from India. IDCA members globally generate over $10 billion in business in diamond, colorstone, and jewelry sales. The Indian jewelry community has over 750 offices in Midtown Manhattan, which offers employment for thousands of New Yorkers and supports the city's economy and local businesses. New York City is one of the leading diamond and jewelry centers in the world. The US jewelry market is currently the largest in the world and is estimated to be worth over $68 billion. The United States is the largest importer of diamonds and jewelry from India, with imports valued at over $14.5 billion in 2021. The gems and jewelry industry of India contributes 7% to India's gross domestic product, and the sector contributes about 10 to 12% of India's total merchandise exports, accounting for the third largest share of over $39 billion in 2021. Today's panel discussion will cover some of these topics and will be moderated by Paul Zeminski, our independent jewelry consultant, and will feature Sweta Jain, Amish Shah, Anup Shah, Sandeep Shah, and Tejas Shah. Our goal for the Trade Symposium was to highlight the tremendous progress that the India's gem and jewelry industry has made in the last 5 decades, not only in the United States, but across the globe. Additionally, it was to spark our industry's interest in being more politically active and engaged with our local, state, and federal government and elected officials. Despite the fact that many here are first-generation immigrants, some of us have been deeply rooted in America for a few generations. It is our collective responsibility to ensure that our values and priorities in business and in our communities and families are aligned with the interests of our future generation. The only way we can do that is to have a seat at the table and be politically and engaged. It's been an honor to serve as the president of IDCA, following in the footsteps of so many excellent leaders of our community who have established the foundation for our industry. During my tenure as president and organizing this historic event for IDCA, I was fortunate enough to have the guidance and counsel of several past presidents. Thank you. I also want to thank the entire IDCA board for their hard work and support throughout the year, especially during our Las Vegas Gala and Diwali function, as well as our significant growth in membership during 2022 and our Next Gen programs. I appreciate the IDCA's board's effort in laying the groundwork for a stronger IDCA. An organization cannot be successful without the support and commitment of its members and sponsors. I would like to take this opportunity to thank everyone for their generous contribution throughout the year that made all our activities possible. I want to thank our Executive Director, Ashrafi. She's working in the back, as always. She embodies the heart and spirit of IDCA, having a depth of industry knowledge and serving our membership for over 18 years. Thank you. I also want to express our gratitude to Dr. Neeta Jain for all her guidance and the many hours she devoted to IDCA in assisting with this symposium. Thank you. Of course, I'd like to thank Star Restaurant for their catering services, Wedding Bills for the photography, videography, Icon Imaging for the souvenir book, and especially the Indian Consulate team and the volunteers for their beautiful facility, audiovisual, and other valuable assistance that they provided for this event. Thank you. My best wishes to everyone for the holiday season and the upcoming new year. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rajiv Pandya. Can we have a round of applause for him, everyone? Now we have a very important person that I'm introducing on the stage. Please welcome Mr. Consul General Randhir Jaiswal. He's a career diplomat and joined the Indian Foreign Service in 1998. In his over 2 decades of diplomatic career so far, he has served in Portugal, Cuba, South Africa, and at the Permanent Mission of India in New York. In between his overseas assignment, he served in New Delhi at the Ministry of External Affairs, first as a Deputy Secretary looking after India's relationship with the United States of America, and then as Joint Secretary managing India's relations with West European countries. He serves as Consul General of India in New York from July 19th, 2020. Mr. Randhir Jaiswal is passionate about sports, environment, culture, monuments, old cities, and cuisines. He is deeply interested in strategic, sustainable development and public policy issues. He holds a master's degree in history from Delhi University, India. Please welcome on the stage Consul General Randhir Jaiswal.
Good morning and namaste to all of you. Good morning. Honorable Congresswoman Grace Meng, Mr. Edward Murmelstein, Commissioner for International Affairs, President of IDCA, Mr. Rajiv Pandya, distinguished friends from the IDCA family and from the diamond and jewelry sector, champions of industry, and all our friends here. It is indeed our pleasure to be hosting this symposium anchored by IDCA. We are doing this as part of India at 75. This year is special for us. We are celebrating 75 years of India's independence, and not just that, 75 years of India-US diplomatic ties. On both accounts, India's own journey as a nation and the success of India-US ties, IDCA and this family has played a very significant role. I thank you for all your contribution in terms of creating wealth, opportunities, energy, enterprise, and much more. India-US economic ties are very important. This year we ended with upwards of $160 billion of bilateral trade, which is a record. We did this in spite of COVID and in spite of not having a free trade agreement. So you can imagine the kind of potential that is there once we have several other instrumentalities that we are working on in place. We also reached a target of $420 billion of exports from India. That's a record for us. Never in our history we crossed 400 billion. This time we did, and we did it during the pandemic times. So you can imagine the kind of energy, enthusiasm that is there in the Indian economic space, and the kind of targets, kind of achievements we are getting done, and what is there in the horizon in the years ahead for all of us. India, in many senses, is transforming itself. You know, some time back, few months back, we became the 5th largest economy in the world, ahead of United Kingdom. In 2007, we were, I think, somewhere around 12th or 10th largest economy. So we've done significantly well. In the days ahead, in the years ahead, rather, I would say, we should be the 3rd largest economy in the world. Hopefully, we can overtake Japan, we can overtake Germany, and be in the 1, 2, 3 of the world. Accompanying our economic success is the slew of reforms that we've undertaken, as a result of which today we are the fastest growing major economy in the world, in spite of all the challenges that global economy today faces: energy crisis, food supply chain disruptions, etc., etc. The startup ecosystem in India is booming. I'm sure there will be several startups in your sector as well. We have upwards of 77,000 startups who are doing very well, of which 107 plus have been accorded unicorn status, which is $1 billion companies. And an important success story came out of the startup ecosystem yesterday, so I would like to mention, and I take deep pride in that. Yesterday, for the first time, we opened our space sector for private participation some time back. And for the first time yesterday, Skyroot Aerospace, an Indian private company, launched a rocket, Vikram S. It went into suborbital space and thereafter has continued on its journey with payload from several parts of the world. So huge success for India, for Indian innovation community, and for Indian enterprise and energy. But let me tell you, whenever I talk about the power of India-US togetherness, I always talk about 47th or 46th Street. In this room, if you put together, if you just look around the kind of power you have, the kind of convening strength you have, you can do Vikram S into 10. So that is the kind of power and kind of strength you have. I would also like to take this opportunity to invite you to Indore, where we have Pravasi Bharati Divas, which is Indian Diaspora Day, being celebrated from 8th to 10th of January in Indore, Madhya Pradesh. We want to make it a grand success, as we have always done. This day belongs to you. This function belongs to you. We are only a facilitator. We would like to acknowledge all that Indian diamond and gems and jewelry industry people are doing, the kind of value you're creating, kind of jobs that you're creating back home in India, and for people here, for the industry here. You're doing a terrific job. I congratulate IDSA on this grand symposium, and I wish you all success. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for that, Consul General. We'll just like to invite Mr. Rajiv Pandya and past President of IDCA, Haridas Kotawala, on the stage to honor Consul General.
The Indian Diamond Colorstone Association, this token of appreciation is presented to the Honorable Shri Randir Jaiswal, Consul General of India, New York, Chief Guest, for your service and dedication and support to the gemstone industry and the Indian community. November 19th, 2022, IDCA.
Amazing. Up now, I'd like to introduce to you all Democratic District Leader Dr. Neeta Jain, who's going to introduce to us to a very important person who I personally think is a huge supporter of Asian American communities, not just in New York State, but across the country. Dr. Neeta Jain, please come on the stage.
A very good morning and namaste to all the esteemed guests here today. And I would like to congratulate in advance IDCA President Mr. Rajiv Pandya for this very successful event today. Please give him a big round of applause. And I also want to thank our Consul General for co-hosting this event today. Thank you so much, Congressman. And now, this is a big task was given to me, as a lot of you know that Congresswoman Grace Meng is a good friend of mine, and we go a long time back together. So it's very hard to say things in 1.5 minutes for her achievements, for her success, for her incredible career in politics, representing our Congressional District 6 in Queens, and she represents maximum population of India and Jewish community through that congressional district. It goes from downtown Flushing to Woodhaven, Forest Hills, Fresh Meadows, whole Flushing, and it goes up to Douglaston, I believe. So, Congresswoman Grace Meng, I really welcome you from bottom of my heart as a Congresswoman that you are representing our community in the House. Congresswoman Grace Meng is not only a Congresswoman Grace Meng, but she does a lot of things for our community across the country from east to west. She is also a DNC Vice Chair, which is a very proud moment for us when she was first chosen to be a DNC Vice Chair as a first Asian female leader. Congresswoman Grace Meng, proud to sit on House Appropriation Committee and its subcommittees. She is also sitting on related agencies like state, foreign operations, finance, justice, and related programs, and Homeland, which is very important. And I know personally that she comes out to help our community whenever we need anything from the Homeland Committee. And she's always there for our committee. Congresswoman Grace Meng also is the first Vice Chair of the Congressional Asian Pacific American Caucus. She is also a co-founder of the Congressional Kids Safety. She is also a Vice Chair of Congressional LGBTQ Equality Caucus. She is also proud member of the Congressional Progress Caucus. She is also a Democratic Women Caucus member. She is a member of Gun Violence Prevention Task Force, which is very important nowadays for us, for everyone in the US and around the world. She is also a House Quiet Sky Committee. I'm sure that the people who live near JFK and LaGuardia, they know that how important this committee is. And she is working day and night to provide us a quiet environment when we live nearby airports. So please join me in welcoming my very dear friend, Honorable Congresswoman Grace Meng.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jain, for those kind words and for your leadership for our Indian American community statewide, but especially in the best county in New York, Queens. Sorry, Commissioner, you don't have to say Queens is the best, but, oh, you are? Oh, we helped make this Commissioner, Queens. Thank you so much to our Consul General Jaiswal. It's wonderful to see you again, and thank you for helping to host this and bringing everyone together. And to President Pandya, it's an honor to be here with you, and thank you and your whole family at large for the work that you do and the contributions that you all bring to our New York economy. I'm Congresswoman Grace Meng from Queens, New York, born and raised in Queens, and really honored to be here once again. And today, as we mark an important part of the U.S.-India relationship, the gem and jewelry trade, I really want to thank the Indian Diamond and Colorstone Association for inviting me to speak today. And what a wonderful opportunity. I didn't fully realize that this was the first time that a symposium like this was happening, and to bring together different partners of this trade industry, I think is really beneficial, not just for us here in New York or the Indian American community, but really for our whole country as we continue to climb out of this pandemic. I don't have to tell all of you that the U.S.-India relationship is grounded in our shared democratic values, our growing economies, and strategic cooperation. I am so proud to support this bilateral relationship as Vice Chair of the House Appropriations Subcommittee on State and Foreign Ops, and as a member of one of the largest and most powerful caucuses in Congress, the Caucus on India and Indian Americans. Today, the U.S. is home to nearly 4 million Indo-Americans. Many Indian Americans made the smart choice by choosing to call New York City their home. And I know our Consul General has been all over the world, and you don't have to admit that New York is your favorite, but we know. I am proud to represent, as Nita said, a thriving Indian American community in Queens. I represent neighborhoods like Flushing and Jackson Heights. You don't need to go anywhere else for the best food in the state. I've had the pleasure of visiting and working together with many Hindu temples and Indian American cultural centers in my district, and celebrating holidays like Diwali, Durga Puja, among other Hindu festivals. And on behalf of our Indian American community that I represent, we have been also advocating for more South Asian language classes in our New York City school system, and have worked, you can clap for that. And I have worked tirelessly to address the issue of hate crimes and bias incidents that are all too often directed at the South Asian community, by hosting community forums and by working with the U.S. Department of Justice. We've also been a strong advocate for pushing nonprofit security grants, which are monies that can directly go towards protecting and helping our Hindu, Muslim, and Sikh houses of worship. I'm also excited that New York City, and I really want to thank leaders like Nita Jain, and we now have a very influential community friend at the mayor's office in Dilip Chawan, to make Diwali, hopefully, a school holiday next year. These initiatives are important, not just because it's a day off, although that's what our kids think, but when these kids have a day off, they are also required, every New York City school student will be required to learn about and appreciate the culture and the customs of Diwali, and that is so important towards promoting more understanding and decreasing hate in our country. But today we celebrate the incredible increase in trade between the US and India and laboratory-made gems. It's incredible, just a few stats that I learned today. It's incredible that India cuts or polishes about 90% of the diamonds in the world. As India's largest merchandise export destination, I will continue to work in Congress to support this trade relationship between the US and India. So please don't hesitate, even if I don't directly represent you, to work with us, to reach out if you have questions. If you want to take a tour of the US Capitol, anything, please feel free to let us know. But best of luck, and I hope you all learn a lot today. This is real, right?
Awesome.
Indian Diamond and Colorstone Association, presented with sincere gratitude to Honorable Congresswoman Grace Meng, Guest of Honor, IDCA Jewelry Industry Symposium, November 19, 2022, IDCA.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Congresswoman Meng. Thank you so much, Dr. Neeta Jain. Thank you so much, Mr. Rajiv Pandya. I'd now like to introduce Commissioner Edward Mermelstein, New York City Mayor's Office of International Affairs. Edward Mermelstein is New York City's Commissioner for International Affairs. As head of the Mayor's Office for International Affairs, he leads the office mission to serve as the primary liaison between the City of New York and the diplomatic community, Consular Corps, and the United Nations. Prior to joining the Adams administration, Edward was the CEO and founder of One and Only Holdings and One and Only Realty, where he specialized in international corporate and real estate law, private equity investment, and joint ventures, as well as real estate investments. Edward's experience in navigating international markets led him to be named one of New York City's 10 most influential figures in real estate. He aims to bring the same tenacity to the Commission for International Affairs and to help Mayor Adams reestablish New York City as the capital of the world. Please welcome on the stage Mr. Edward Mermelstein.
Thank you so much. Thank you once again, and good morning, or I think it's afternoon, or no, it's still morning. It's still morning. So, very happy to join all of you on behalf of Mayor Adams. Members of our administration, I'd like to say thank you to Consul General Jaiswal, IDCA President Rajiv Pandya, Congresswoman Grace Meng, thank you. Thank you for your beautiful speech, and thank you, Dr. Jain. Members of the Indian Diamond and Colorstone Association, this first ever U.S.-India Jewelry Industry Trade Symposium. I'm honored to be here speaking in front of all of you. Our office, as was mentioned, serves as the primary liaison for the City of New York to the international diplomatic community and its business community. New York City has the largest diplomatic corps in the world, which includes 116 consulates and 193 permanent missions. It is no doubt that COVID-19 pandemic presented challenges for our city, but one thing remains true. New York City, and New Yorkers always rise. Our city always reinvents itself, and we are happy to share that New York City is open for business. We have a relentless focus on job creation and rebuilding our tourism sector. When thinking about business, New York City remains the global business destination. We are ranked #1 globally for foreign direct investment and #2 for venture foreign direct investment. When looking at our economic development ecosystem, our city has a gross metropolitan product. Our GMP is 1.66 trillion. That's US dollars. Making us, well, it's a question whether it's the 10th or 11th largest economy in the world if we were a country. We also have the biggest consumer base and the largest labor force in the nation. India's gems and jewelry exports stood at an yearly amount of almost $40 billion, as was mentioned, in the past several years. As the world's capital for cutting and polishing, India has become a leader in New York City's jewelry district. And New York City will continue to be our industry's strongest partner, your industry's strongest partner. I want to say, on a personal note, I've been in contact with your industry for many years prior to joining the Adams administration, and I really do know how important this industry is, not just to New York City, but worldwide. So I'd like to once again thank you all for being a part of this industry and helping our economy. And we continue to support you and look forward to working with all of you on behalf of the Mayor Adams administration. Thank you.
With Mr. Rajiv Pandya, I'd like to call upon the stage Mr. Mehul Shah, IDCA past president, to present the award.
The Indian Diamond and Color Stone Association presented with sincere gratitude to Mr. Edward Mermelstein, Commissioner, Mayor's Office for International Affairs, Guest of Honor IDCA, Jewelry Industry Symposium, November 19th, 2022.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Now I would like to introduce on the stage Dilip Chauhan. He is the Deputy Commissioner for Trade, Investment and Innovation at the Mayor's Office for International Affairs. Dilip Chauhan is also the founding president of the New York South Asian American Chamber of Commerce and was instrumental in building the organization and raising the representation of South Asian American community, estimated to be about 7 million across the United States. Please welcome on the stage Mr. Dilip Kumar.
Good morning to everyone. Good morning. It is such a great honor to serve in the New York City Mayor Eric Adams administration as a Deputy Mayor for Trade, Investment and Innovation. I used to work as a Deputy Comptroller in Nassau County. Great relationship with the IDCA. I can say I'm not in business with you, but I'm one of you. I will not take much time, but Rajiv Pandya, Dr. Jain, Honorable Consul General Ranjit Jaiswal, Commissioner Edward Mermelstein, as mentioned, New York City Mayor Eric Adams believes get stuff done. We are here to serve you. I know what are the current issues facing the diamond industry. We need more safety. Mr. Rajiv Pandya called, and we are going to facilitate their meetings with the mayor also. So it's not like just we come and speak, but really we wanted to contribute and we wanted to be a part of your problem and your growth. I will not take much time, but again, from bottom of my heart, and on behalf of the New York City Mayor Eric Adams, I would like to thank each and every one of you. Thank you for inviting me.
And with Mr. Rajiv Pandya, I'd like to invite on the stage Mr. Aniket Parekh, IDCA Joint Secretary, to present the award.
The Indian Diamond and Color Stone Association presented with sincere gratitude to Mr. Dilip Chauhan, Deputy Commissioner, Mayor's Office for International Affairs, Guest of Honor IDCA Jewelry Industry Symposium, November 19th, 2022.
Can I request Consul General and Commissioner and Dr. Jain to please come?
Everyone, a big round of applause. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone. We now go into a very interesting aspect of this event now. We're talking to gems and jewelry industry speakers. It's time for the keynote speaker today. Let me introduce Jamie Singleton. She is Group President and Chief Customer Officer at Signet Jewelers, the world's largest diamond retailer, overseeing the North American banners Kay, Zales, Peoples, and the company's outlet division. With 30 years of experience in all aspects of retail, including merchandising, design, product development, sourcing, marketing, data analytics, and customer experience, she's known and recognized for her personal transformational leadership. Singleton also manages Signet's vendor relationships, from North America to India, ensuring that product innovation is at the forefront and that Signet's relationships are strong with best-in-class partners. With her merchandising experience and trusted relationships, Singleton has helped Signet stay ahead of resulting from the COVID-19 pandemic, ensuring, along with Indian vendor community, that the jewelry offering stayed accessible and exciting to the consumer. She also has an integral role in ensuring the alignment between Signet and the vendor community to ensure high standards for the sustainability of our planet and the responsible management of its supply chain. It's an honor to invite on the stage right now Ms. Jamie Singleton. Thank you so much.
Good morning, everyone. What a pleasure to be here with you today. I would like to thank Mr. Rajiv Pandya for the opportunity to be here with you this morning and congratulate the honorees. What amazing accomplishments each of you have achieved. And thank you all for the very kind welcome. It's been a pleasure to be here today, especially in the heart of the U.S. Diamond District and here in the beautiful, beautiful Indian Consulate. I look around this room and it's simply spectacular and stunning to see the wonderful, wonderful art around us. I love the focus of this symposium today. Jewelry is an inspiring industry. I came to jewelry not that many years ago from the apparel industry, and I was sitting thinking this morning as I look at the message behind me, Incredible India, how true that is to me personally. And I began working in India back in the 90s in apparel in New Delhi, and I very, very quickly and very simply fell in love with the Indian people, with the Indian countryside, and with all of the wonderful and beautiful innovation that has come out of that country. It has meant so much to me over the years and so much to my career. So this is especially gratifying and very personal to me to be here today. The other thing that I would like to say as I look around this room and I see so many of you who have had very personal connections and very specific ownerships to the success that Signet Jewelers has enjoyed. On behalf of our company and our team, on behalf of myself, very, very specifically, I would like to say thank you. It's been an honor, and we have so many wonderful days ahead of us, and I look forward to talking about that a little bit today. We're so interdependent. The jewelry industry in the U.S. and India, we're so interdependent and so joined together as we think about this industry. It's a great business to be in jewelry. It really is. We have so many advantages that many retail categories just quite simply lack. Excuse me. Our business is secular. It's not cyclical. It's lasting. And as a result, we're much more resilient than a lot of specialty retail businesses are able to be. We're less vulnerable sometimes to economic pressures because jewelry inventory has higher residual value than apparel. And it doesn't require quite as much promotion from a retailer's perspective to drive turn. And our product feels less discretionary. It feels more important to consumers. It feels like an investment in what they love and who they love. That's a very special place to be. Their love and identity is tied to the jewelry that they wear, and that's true for all of us, I believe. We've had a couple of years of remarkable growth here in the U.S., but even as the market returns to more normalized levels over time, we are very confident, very, very optimistic that the industry will continue to grow. It will grow steadily and meaningfully from year to year over the long term. We're committed to that at Signet Jewelers. But at the heart of my message today, that reliable long-term growth is not just a given. As new generations emerge, it's essential that we maintain and ideally strengthen the relevance of this category to our consumers. Relevance is essential for growth. It's industries and brands that stay highly relevant do a few things incredibly well, and we look at that quite often. They engage and they connect with consumers in a deeply personal way. They bring new products and new experiences that are meaningful to people's lives and connect with where our customers are right now. They reflect the identity, the community, and the values of the customers that they serve. And as a result, these customers see themselves as reflected in our product. as reflected in our marketing, our services, and our experience. And that's how thriving contemporary industries and brands continue to grow. At our best, we as a jewelry industry do this really, really well. Sometimes we do it magnificently well, and those are very proud moments for all of us. But the world is changing so fast, and so often in momentous ways, it's harder than ever for us to stay fresh and relevant. It takes all of us working together to get that done. There's been a lot of comment today about the importance of the imports of India to the jewelry industry, and we respect that at Signet Jewelers so much, and we want to partner even more and even more closely as we go forward. I see this, as I know you do, as a very, very inspiring and a very energizing responsibility. I'd like to suggest a few ways that we can keep this industry thriving from a retailer's perspective. First, we need deeper consumer insights into our product stories. Second, we need bolder innovation across the board that brings those stories to life in compelling and even unexpected ways. And third, we need to protect the integrity of our supply chain with accountability and with transparency. I'll be brief, but I want to take a quick look at each of those opportunities and then think about the conversations that we can have together as we think about future growth. I'll begin with consumer insights. I like to think of consumer insights as discovery and introducing ourselves every day to our customers all over again. It's not just what people know that they need, but it's what they do and what they believe in their everyday lives. And for us, those are the magical moments of their lives. What an honor to participate in those moments of our customers' lives. Insights bring humanity to innovation, and that's how we think about it. They help us tell stories that people see themselves being a part of. For that to happen, though, we have to see their lived experience from the inside out. If we're honest with ourselves, it's a challenge sometimes to do that. I'll give you one example, and it's the way that this new customer base, these millennial customers, think about even gender. I recently saw some research that I thought was very interesting and insightful. It said there is a global reimagining of gender underway. Customers think of themselves as couples. They think of themselves as people. They think of themselves in a really beautiful way where they're not boxed in by gender, where women and men can both achieve based on what they do. They can express their love and express themselves in very gender-neutral ways. It's a wonderful way for us to interact with our customers based on what they see and believe. We see this coming to life every day, and we see our customers wanting to wear big, beautiful pieces of jewelry, not geared to him or geared to her, but because it's big, beautiful pieces of jewelry. It's very interesting as we watch this play out. And I really want to see us digging deeper into the values of our customers as we go forward. That's something that we at Signet are committed to do in partnership to you. And this brings me to my next topic, which is we need bolder innovation to bring our most inspired stories to life in unexpected ways. Think about the evolution of the handbag, something near and dear to my heart. Think back 20 years ago, there were designer handbags and women maybe had a couple of bags in their closets. Today, walk into a modern woman's closet and you'll find multiple handbags for a variety of moments and moods and meetings. Handbags have become a statement of who we are. Jewelry, I believe, should live in that same category. It's a statement of who we are. It should live in the same category with shoes and with handbags. It should be such a part of our everyday life. A great handbag or a killer pair of shoes is an expression of status and of confidence. We can be that and more to our customers. And that's because jewelry makes such an emotional statement and it has a higher level of intrinsic value. It's an amazing category, and I feel honored to be a part of it. When this industry gets that bold imagination right, all of us together, we create magic for our customers. Quite simply, we create magic. Just one example is personalization. We're transforming how we engage with our customers. One big way that we're doing that is through our media. We're moving very fast from mass media to fast media, from scaled communication to very personal conversations with our customers about the jewelry that we're offering them. In the past, we relied on network advertising brought by big media companies. Today, we are the media company. Our sales associates are the media company. We're the ones that know our customers and have those personal conversations with them. It takes precision, it takes relevance, it takes intimacy with our customer base and intimacy with the product that we create together and bring forward for them. For us to take full advantage of this capability, we need great stories. That's something that we as an industry do so beautifully. We'll choose and market products based on their rich and emotional storytelling. And we need fresh, original, and I say it again, unexpected stories that will appeal to the diverse, multicultural customers who will determine the future of our business. Bring us those stories, bring them to us, and we will be delighted to bring your beautiful designs and craftsmanship to life. My final thought is that we need to protect the integrity of our supply chain. And I know that that is so personal and near and dear to our hearts. We've had many conversations about it together. We need even greater accountability and greater transparency. I cannot overemphasize and overstate the importance to this. Nothing will erode an industry or a brand's relevance faster than lost trust. We follow the Edelman Trust Barometer closely, and I found this year's findings deeply concerning on some levels and very encouraging on others. I was concerned by their top insight. Distrust is now society's default emotion, and 6 in 10 people say that their default tendency is to distrust something until they see evidence that it's trustworthy. That falls on us to make sure that we're sending that message to our customers consistently, relevantly, and impactfully. On the other hand, business is the most trusted institution in today's society and outscores government by wide margins with both competence and integrity. Consumers want and expect us to lead with accountability, transparency, and with impact. When they purchase our beautiful diamonds and our beautiful gemstones, our precious metals, they demand to know that they're getting precisely the product we promised and that it's made and comes to their hands ethically and responsibly sourced with humanity. We have to protect the integrity of our supply chain at every step of the journey, from mine to manufacturing, to marketing, and to sale. We've done very good work through the RJC, including the protocols we put in place in this year, the response to the Russian invasion of Ukraine. We can't let up. We will not rest as an industry. I know that we're all equally committed to this. We will constantly send unmistakable signals that our entire industry is not only worthy of people's trust, but it's also a source of joy and delight in their lives. What an honor to sit in that space in the retail and consumer mindset. What I hope I'm conveying is that we're part of a great and vibrant industry, and that the future of our business is in our hands. We lead with insight, we lead with integrity, we lead with invention, and we have an amazing future ahead of us as an industry. We can tell people stories, we can help people express their stories and be part of their lives in a way that no other industry can do. We say at our K Jewelers banner sometimes that our customers love to use the words from our ad campaigns when they give a gift, because they're searching for ways to tell you how important you are in their lives, to talk to their loved ones with personal, beautiful stories. What a great business to be in. And I ask today, once again, that we join together as an industry, united, focused, ready to go into the future with growth-mindedness, with a progressive mentality. And let's make jewelry be as important to the future generations as it has to every generation since Cleopatra. There's no better business to be in. There's no place I'd rather be this morning. Thank you so much for your warm welcome. What an honor to be here with you. Thank you.
Along with Mr. Rajiv Pandya, may I please invite Mr. Sandeep Shah to the stage.
The Indian Diamond and Colorstone Association. This token of appreciation is presented to Ms. Jamie Singleton, Chief Marketing Officer, President, Signet Jewelers, K. Zills, Peoples, Keynote Speaker, IDCA Jewelry Industry Symposium, in recognition of your exceptional and visionary accomplishments in the jewelry industry. November 19th, 2022, IDCA. And thank you for a great keynote speech.
I'd now like to introduce the guest of honor speaker for today, Mr. Ronnie van der Linden. He began his career in the diamond industry in 1977 and ultimately opened his own business, which began in 1990. He is the president of Dimex, a diamond manufacturer and wholesale since 1976. He's well known for his breadth of knowledge of both rough and polished diamonds and travels extensively throughout the world consulting with other key industry leaders. He holds a number of top positions in national and global organizations. Ronnie is the immediate past president of the Diamond Manufacturers and Importers Association of America. He's also the president of the International Diamond Manufacturers Association and is the first president of the United States Jewelry Council, an umbrella organization of 17 U.S. associations. Let's welcome onto the stage Mr. Ronnie van der Linden.
Oh my goodness, look over this room. I have to say that I am extremely humbled and honored to be in front of all of you at this first ever summit, the consulate. Congratulations to all of you on 75 years of independence. I can't believe that I'm standing in front of you and not somebody else. Wow, okay, well, it's fabulous to see all of you. IDCA President Rajiv Pandya, Congresswoman Grace Meng, Consul General Mr. Randir Jalswa, Commissioner, New York City Mayor's Office, which I see the commissioner's left, but I thought it was Edward Mermelstein, but I'll say Mermelstein, cover both. Jamie Singleton, Group President, Group Customer President, Officer at Signet Jewelers, Kay Zales and Peoples, I believe as well. Deputy Commissioner Dilip Chauhan, IDCA honorees, my fellow honorees, Sandeep Shah, Tejas Shah, and Sunil Jain. Ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, friends, all protocols observed. As you heard, my name is Ronnie van der Linden. I am president of the International Diamond Manufacturers and Importers Diamond Manufacturers Association and the immediate past president of the Diamond Manufacturers and Importers Association of America. Friends, and I use this word friends, it's wonderful to see all of you. And friends is something that we all are in this room. When I look out at the room and I see Mehul Shah, Nilesh, Sandeep, and all of you, I met Mehul and I met Sandeep and Nilesh and Bharat, who's not here, but his daughter is here, moving into 589 Fifth Avenue. Mehul was my neighbor. He introduced me, really, to the Indian Diamond and Color Stone Association. But beyond that, the reason I'm using friends, and not just colleagues, is because we became friends. We started out doing business, but then became close personal and family friends, where we enjoy each other's companies a few times a year for dinner and other events, get invited to each of our different social events. So when I use the term friends and looking out in this room, I mean, if I had to name each and every one of you, and forgive me if I don't, because I've named a few of you, we'd be here till after lunch, and I'm sure that's not something you'd want to hear. So while we're doing business with one another, and at times we may drive hard bargains with one another, but the first and foremost of those we work with are, as I mentioned, good friends and colleagues. Relationships and trust are a big part of what keeps our industry healthy. We learn from each other in so many different ways. Looking at the Indian Diamond and Color Stone Association, IDCA, is one of the younger members of our associations. It was established as a nonprofit organization in 1984 to represent the interest of and lead traders of diamonds, colored gemstones, and jewelry. I have witnessed myself the growth of the Indian diamond and jewelry community firsthand. The earliest companies and individuals established themselves in New York around 1975. 1980, 1990 brought a major influx of Indian companies coming to New York to establish their New York offices. During that time, the diamond dealers started branching out, manufacturing jewelry, providing jewelry services, and major support at that time to the local New York and American traders, dealers. Now most of the companies are major jewelry manufacturers as well. Today you have a community that established itself as a key component of the diamond and jewelry industry in New York and in the United States. Congratulations. While the United States continues to be a major consumer market and player in the jewelry industry, India has cemented its leading and global prime position in the diamond, colored gemstone, and jewelry manufacturing industry and trade during the past decades. This was the genesis behind the formation of the IDCA. Since its founding almost 40 years ago, second and third generation members have transformed and adapted their companies into globally oriented firms that operate worldwide. A lot of sourcing and manufacturing is still done, as they say, in the old country. But we see IDCA members, many of them speaking with New York accents, fanning out in the world, doing what they do best, finding new growth markets. Interestingly, India is quickly on its way to becoming, as you heard earlier, the world's third most important consumer market, as annually tens of millions of Indians join the middle class of means. And Jamie, you said something that was very near and dear to my heart as one of those that was around when the Council for Responsible Jewelry Practices, which became the Responsible Jewelry Council, is something that we all look forward to and being a part of as a certified member, and I encourage. But it is so important that we protect, and I just came back from somewhat of a tour around the globe, but it's so important that we do protect our integrity, the chain and what we sell. Consumers, I've learned something. Our industry is driven from the consumer up, no longer from the producer down. And we need to keep our eyes and our ears and our hearts open to the consumer and serve them and listen to what their needs are. And they're out there, as Jamie said, they're out there and they're speaking louder than ever to us. I'd like to take a moment also to honor those no longer with us. At the IDMA, we lost a pillar of support and a giant of a friend, Sanjay Shah, which is Sandeep's brother. He was very instrumental in my life and also a guide when it came to international affairs. And unfortunately, we lost him recently. Sanjay was the Gem and Jewelry and Export and Promotional Council's diamond convener and our IDMA representative from India. And he is really sorely missed. The IDCA is fortunate to have most of its past presidents and their wisdom with us in this room. I therefore wish to mention and remember two past presidents who, again, in my early life, were there for me. And they are no longer with us, but I remember them fondly. One is the late Tushar Khatari, and the other is Rajekar Parikh. Now, and last and by no means least, allow me to honor the affable Haridas Kotawala, who served no less than 5 terms as the IDCA president. And to all of you, keeping this brief, for those of you that know the actor, or knew the actor, Leonard Nimoy from Star Wars in the series, who adapted the biblical Jewish priestly blessing, and it took to the stars, may you all live long and prosper. I wish all of you a wonderful and your family's holiday season, and I really thank you very much for this incredible honor.
I'd like to call on the stage, joining Mr. Rajiv Pandya, Selash Laki, IDCA Treasurer, Shailesh Shalani, Vice President of IDCA.
The Indian Diamond and Color Stone Association, this token of appreciation presented to Ronnie Vanderlinden, President IDMA, Guest of Honor, for your dedication and support to the diamond and jewelry industry and the Indian community from IDCA. Fancy.
Thank you so much. Thank you. During a very important moment, we are here to recognize some honorees today. I'd like to start with Mr. Sunil Jain, who is the chairman of FEI. Sunil Jain's first foray in business was in the glamorous world of Bollywood at the young age of 16, and he pursued his passion for Indian cinema by becoming a distributor of films. Then, inspired by his elder brothers and their entrepreneurial zeal and success as the first-generation emerald dealers, he shifted course and decided to pursue a career in gemstones instead. He emigrated to America in 1983 with his wife and son, and by 1985, Fine Emerald Inc. was established in New York's famous jewelry district. The firm developed a clientele consisting of illustrious names lining Fifth and Madison Avenue, amongst others. Success led the company to expand its range of products into a vast array of colored gemstones beginning in 1989. Eventually, it became the preeminent supplier of fine colored gemstones all over the world. Let's welcome Mr. Sunil Jain on the stage, who will be honored by Mr. Rajiv Pandya, along with Mr. Kailash Rawat, IDCA board member. You'll be honored first.
The Indian Diamond and Color Stone Association Business Leadership Award, Color Stone category, presented to FEI, Mr. Sunil Jain, Chairman, for outstanding achievement and commitment to excellence in the color stone industry, IDCA.
Mr. Sunil Jain, we would love for you to address everyone.
Thank you. I would like to start by thanking the Consulate General of India and the IDCA for arranging this symposium and for having my family and me here today. It is deeply humbling, meaningful to be selected by your peers and to be in the company of two stalwarts of the jewelry industry, Sandeep Diamond and Kiran Jewels. Thank you all. Congratulations, Sandeep Bhai, Tejas Bhai. I would actually like to speak today about the Indian color gemstone industry. It represents a small niche within the jewelry industry, but also like the Indian diamond industry, it has carved out a leading position for itself. When I see the success and dynamism of our peers, it is at once impressive and inspiring. This is true despite India having very little raw material itself. Just like with our friends in the diamond business, what many would consider to be disadvantage has simply forced the industry to innovate, take risk, and develop the competitive muscle that have served it well in our globalized economy. Today, various categories within the business are entirely the domain of Indian companies because they possess unique expertise, skills, and know-how. Another point I would like to highlight about the color gemstone industry. It is highly artisanal nature. Technology has struggled to improve upon the talent and skill nurtured in our craftsmen and entrepreneurs, and the ecosystem to maintain them require constant nurturing. These are skills that are often passed down over generations, and such talent is simply not found or developed easily. This is not mass industrialization, but as the French and Italians have recognized, you can build giants on the basis of such capabilities. It would be my humble request and suggestion that the Indian government assist and promote our industry and others like it. Elsewhere in the world, they would kill for such a competitive advantage. Also in attendance today are some members of my family, including my wife Kalpana. Without their love, support, and understanding at work and home, I would not be here today. So rather than accept this honor for our company alone, I would instead like to do so on behalf of all companies, big and small, that comprise the Indian color gemstone industry. Some truly remarkable people and companies are involved. And because of our little corner of the world as well, it's little, they do not get enough acknowledgement. I would ask that you please join me in the appreciation of the unheralded individual whom I consider to be my inspiration. My competitors and my peers. Thank you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I'd like to now introduce our next honoree, Mr. Sandeep Shah. Sandeep Shah is the founder, president, and CEO of Sandeep Diamond Corporation. He began his journey as a loose diamond dealer before transforming himself into one of the most trusted resources in the bridal and anniversary space. Today, some of the most prominent names in retail jewelry look to Sandeep for intangibles that this group specializes in over the years. In 2015, Sandeep Diamond Corporation merged its jewelry independence division with IDCA LLC, one of the largest distributors of fine diamond jewelry, and recently, Sandeep Diamond Corporation also expanded its offerings to include lab-grown diamond jewelry through a new entity called Affinity Diamonds LLC. Sandeep Diamond Corporation is strategically aligned with the KBS Group based in India, which was founded by Sandeep's father, Kanubhai Bisha, in 1975. KBS Group, a fourth-generation family-run organization, is one of the highest exporters of fine jewelry out of Mumbai. To honor him today, I'd like to call upon the stage Mr. Ranjiv Pandya, the president of IDCA, with Mr. Nilesh Shet, who is IDCA past president, to present him the award.
The Indian Diamond and Color Stone Association Business Leadership Award, Gems and Jewelry category, presented to Sandeep Diamond Corp., Sandeep Shah, President and CEO, for outstanding achievement and commitment to excellence in the jewelry industry.
Mr. Sandeep Shah, we would love for you to address everyone.
Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to start by acknowledging what Sunilji said. What a magnanimous gesture to share this award with every single stakeholder in our industry. It meant a lot. Thank you very much. I have a lot to say. Rajiv Bhai and Ashrafi have given me a very tight guideline, and I may cross it by 15, 20 seconds, but this is the concise version of what I was actually intending to say. Honorable Consul General Jamie Singleton, government dignitaries, Rajiv Bhai, friends and family, Ronnie. Throughout my life, I've heard my father thank his parents in every speech at every special occasion of his life. And it feels natural to me as I stand here today to begin with a nod to my parents. While my mom instilled the importance of family, humility, and culture in me, made sure my feet were always on the ground, my father taught me how to take flight. He taught me integrity, honor, discipline. He instilled a pursuit for perfection, a dissatisfaction with 99% when 100% option was out there. He told me once, as he sent me out to US in the 80s, that our reputation and our goodwill was our most valuable asset. That if I could not enhance it, to at least never diminish it. This was my most and my greatest gift. I miss his presence today. I know he would have been very proud. I'm standing here today filled with gratitude. To receive an award from the circle of my peers is something I will cherish for the rest of my life. Truthfully, this award exceeds my expectations. It is only fitting then to acknowledge the number of people whose ideas and effort brought me to this stage. The award is a reflection of the thousands of people this company has held within its walls over the years. And I accept it on behalf of every member of my organization. I've always said, and it has only become truer, that my people make me look better and smarter than I am. Among those thousands, there are a few inside our group who must be mentioned, without whom we would not be where we are today. My wife, Purvi, she's at the top of this list. And without her unconditional support, I would not have been able to build any of this. She graduated from Northwestern University and put her own pursuits on a back burner. While I worked crazy hours in the first 2 decades of our marriage, she raised our children, giving them the best of both worlds. The Indian culture and the American dream. She brings calm to our chaos and keeps us all grounded. Along with Purvi, I thank my kids. 2 of them are present in the audience, who are helping me evolve as an individual and to help become a better version of myself. My brother Sanjay Shah, who passed away earlier this year, spent 6 months a year in New York in the beginning of our journey to help establish Sandeep Diamond Corporation. I dedicate this award to him. We would not be able to accomplish any of this without his hard work. Jamie Lichtenberg joined us in 1987 and helped me lay the foundation of growth and success of Sandeep Diamond Corporation. There wasn't a door that I had identified that she couldn't open for us. If Jamie helped lay the foundation, Sushil Choksi built many buildings on top. And there are not too many individuals I know who are as creative and well-versed as him. It would be difficult to match Sushil's ability to identify a customer, connect with them in the most unique ways, uncover white spaces, and offer end-to-end solution. Kunal and Abhishek, my partners, my cousins, ensured the longevity and relevance of the group. Abhishek, who's my partner in New York, shares many responsibilities with me in New York and has allowed me the much-needed work-life balance. The journey of making something good as a group has been the most rewarding experience I've had. This award inspires me to continue on that path. In the next chapter of my life, I'm excited to take on new challenges, a new role. I would love to give back to this industry which has given me so much. I would like to work harder to make our group a model organization where our exemplary standards are adopted by customers and competitors alike. We are not just a partner, but we are a supplier of choice. I also look forward to being with my family now more than ever I ever been. Watch my children smile, see them settle down, raise families, and be successful in life, in whatever they do. Thank you all to my customers who have given me so many opportunities in my journey and taught me so much more than my education did. Thank you, Sunil Bhai and Tejas, for your contribution to gem and jewelry trade in America. It's an honor to be receiving this award with you both today. Thank you, IDCA, for this recognition and platform to share my reflections on a long, rewarding journey, for seeing the work of thousands behind me. Honorable Consul General, thank you for bringing well-deserved attention to the Indian diamond and jewelry trade in USA and for co-hosting this event. Jamie, thank you for accepting IDCA's invite to be the keynote speaker for the event, and bigger thank you for your partnership and friendship. To the next chapter.
Thank you so much. I'd like to introduce our next honoree, Mr. Tejas Shah. Starting at the early age of 18 in New York City, Tejas Shah is one of the forward thinkers in the industry. He is the CEO of Unique Designs, a part of the Kiran Group of companies. In 1995, Tejas came to New York with the motive of helping his father, Mukesh Jayantilal Shah, in their family-owned jewelry business. Soon, that motive became an ambition, which would lead him to partner with the Kiran Group of companies as their US counterpartner. From selling to wholesalers when he first came to New York, Tejas made his way to being one of the key vendors to the top retailers in the country. The ambition soon led to a dream of starting Unique Designs and making it #1 jewelry wholesalers in the US. The company was recognized as the highest importer of diamond jewelry from India by the US government for the past 3 consecutive years. From a 7-people company on Fifth Avenue to an organization of 200 associates in their Secaucus, New Jersey facility and 4,000 associates globally, Unique Design has seen exponential growth under the vision of Tejas Shah. To honor him today, I would like to call upon the stage Mr. Rajiv Pandya, the president of IDCA, along with Mr. Ashok Sancheti, IDCA past president, to present him the award.
The Indian Diamond and Colorstone Association Business Leadership Award Jewelry category presented to Unique Designs Incorporated, Tejas Shah, CEO, for excellent and innovative achievement in the diamond and jewelry industry, IDCA.
Mr. Tejas Shah, we would love for you to address everyone.
Good afternoon, everybody. A dear friend just messaged me that you should thank your wife and walk away. It'll be the most successful thing you did in your life. But I think I'm not going to take your advice on this one. I want to thank the IDCA, Rajiv Pandya, and the embassy for hosting this lovely event. It's an honor to be recognized alongside the heavyweights of the industry. And what better place and venue could you have picked than the Indian Embassy? Moments like these are a humbling experience as they make you pause and think. I realize so many people and circumstances that are responsible where we are today. It's been a few people in my life that have influenced me, and I believe whatever success I have accomplished is truly due to them. My parents, who taught me that there was no alternative to hard work. My grandfather, who showed me that honesty and integrity was the only choice. And my guru, who guided me to love what you do, because after that, every challenge becomes an opportunity and the journey becomes full of adventure and fun. I want to thank my wife, Akshi, for the unwavering support and for always being my best critique at work and at home. Every time I visit our factories in India, I grow more appreciative of the effort and the long hours that the teams put in to make us look good. As a CEO, I end up being the face for the organization, but the 60,000 associates at the Unique and Kiran Group are the ones that deserve the recognition, as it would not be possible without them. The United States is truly a country of opportunity. I landed in New York on my 18th birthday with the intent to go back after 2 years. And here I am after 25 years sharing my journey with you. I take pride in leading an organization that challenges the status quo and is pivoted with changing times. With little resources and no college degree, we made it this far, solely based on hard work and being obsessed with our customers' needs. Indians have a unique combination of intellect and courage. Today, there are many Indian CEOs that run Fortune 500 companies, and I would encourage the younger generation to look at this industry as an opportunity. Do not be afraid of doing something outside the box. The global industry has largely looked upon Indian companies as a low-cost, mass-market manufacturing facility, and I believe it's time to change that. I aspire and hope in my lifetime to see an Indian jewelry brand and an Indian retailer at the pinnacle of excellence. Thank you, and Jai Hind.
Thank you so much. We have now reached the panel session segment of this event. I'll be introducing the panelists and the moderator, and then I'll be inviting them on the stage. Let's start with the moderator, Paul Ziminsky. Paul Ziminsky, CFA, is a leading global diamond industry analyst based in the New York City metro area, specializing in global diamond supply-demand fundamentals and the companies operating within the industry. His research and analysis on the diamond industry, which includes natural as well as man-made diamonds, is used by financial institutions, management consulting firms, private and public corporations, governments and intergovernmental organizations, and universities. Paul is a regular contributor to industry-leading trade journals, and he's often interviewed and quoted by prominent media outlets, and he's often invited to speak at institutional investor and industry conferences around the world. He has given keynote presentations on diamond industry in North America, South America, Europe, Africa, and Asia. Let's have a huge round of applause for Paul. The next panelist, she's unfortunately not able to join us today, but we'd like to give her a shout out, Ms. Shweta Jain. She's the designer and president of Goshwara. Our next panelist is Mr. Amish Shah. He is the president of ALTR Created Diamonds, the undisputed creator of lab-grown diamond marketplace. It is the only vertical integrated diamond house growing, manufacturing, designing, and cutting with world's finest artisans to create the purest form of diamonds known to man. Amish has been committed to advancing the future of jewelry through technological innovations, consumer and jeweler education, environmental initiatives, and utilizing the top industry artisans. ALTR Created Diamonds also manufactures its own jewelry and presents it to consumers through a global retail presence that spans worldwide. Armed with 52 patents on its award-winning cuts, it transforms aspirational luxury into attainable luxury with bigger, more brilliant diamonds of unparalleled quality. Let's have a round of applause for Mr. Amish Shah. Our next panelist is Mr. Anup Shah. He is the CEO of With Clarity, and he drives the company's mission and vision, day-to-day execution, and growth initiatives. He is third-generation industry professional with over 10 years experience in the industry. Prior to With Clarity, Anup began his career in equities trading at Fidelity Investments, specializing in global portfolio trading with algorithms. He transitioned to the diamond industry, learning how to cut, polish, grade, and price diamonds at Demexon Kirtilal Kalidas. Anup is passionate about using technology to create a more transparent jewelry buying experience for today's modern conscious consumer. With Clarity's jewelry shopping experience features unique designs, a free at-home try-on, and an industry-leading lab-grown and natural diamond offering for modern conscious consumers. He holds a GD from Gemological Institute of America and a BS from Boston College, graduating with honors. Let's have a warm welcome for Anup Shah. Also, I would like to invite on the stage two more panelists who will be joining us, who are your honorees for the day, Sandeep Shah and Tejas Shah. Please join us on the panel. Well, Paul, the floor is all yours.
Well, thank you very much. What a fantastic event. It's such a privilege to be part of this. So we have a fantastic panel. We're going to have a nice conversation here. It's going to be on maybe a more micro level than we've been talking about prior to this. So we're going to get into lab diamonds. We're going to talk about supply chain transparency and diamond provenance. Oh, okay, sure, great. And then we're going to talk about branding at a product level and how that's an area of the industry is going to continue to grow. So I think with lab grown, just to maybe briefly set the stage, and then we'll get into the panel to save as much time for that as possible. But it's been a very interesting year for lab grown. I mean, Signet, I think, as Jenna said, is quote unquote leaning into lab grown this year for the first time. We've seen Pandora, the largest fashion jeweler in the world, just launched a lab diamond jewelry line in the US just within the last few months. We've seen production capacity expand, quite rapidly in the last few years, especially in India. India is probably on pace to be the largest producer of lab grown, we'll see. And then, looking at, the supply chain transparency initiatives, this is an area that's, continues to be very important for the industry. I think it's important because it kind of distinguishes and segregates natural diamond from lab diamond. I think it's, the initiatives have been accelerated this year with the sanction on Russian diamonds, so that continues to be a more and more important part of where this industry is going. And then lastly, branding, at a product level, at a jewelry level, at a diamond level even. This continues to be probably the fastest growing segment of the market, and customers want, a product that they can associate with. They want a product that they feel is loyal and a product that they could associate with, and I think that's going to continue to be a very, very important part of this industry. So we're going to focus on those three topics. If we have time, maybe we'll talk about maybe what the future could look like for demand, is just if we're looking at the larger diamond and jewelry industry, post 2022, given the economic turbulence. Maybe we can get into that as well. But maybe to start with you, Amish, we were chatting before the event, and I think he has been out for 20 hours straight. He took a red-eye flight to get here in time. So we'll start with you before you fall asleep. But looking at lab grown, so you're focused, exclusively on lab grown. You're very passionate. We've talked for hours about this. You're in it for the long run, and maybe just to start, could you kind of give maybe your opinion of where the industry's come the last 3, 4, 5 years, where we're going, and just kind of how you see the product category playing out longer term?
Sure. Thank you, Paul. I think when we look at the lab-grown category, the journey, when I look at it, that started almost in 2005, 2006. When we entered the category in 2006, it's almost the first people even talking about it. What's humorous today is when I look back, people were laughing. I still remember my first JCK when we had HPHD grown, almost orange pinkish diamonds, 1 carat to 2 carats. And coming from a family that's in jewelry, we actually didn't even go to the market trying to show diamonds. We had fine jewelry and we actually labeled, put a collection together to have most people in the industry almost laugh at it. When you fast forward 10 years after that, between 2008, when most people had to slow down, and we went back in 2011, and the journey between 10 and 15 was the evolution of the MPCVD or the CVD diamonds that most people talk about. Between 12 and 14 is when you see the first batch of white lab-grown diamonds starting to grow, and it was the earlier what most of us talk as tinges and that, but nothing had come to the market. I remember in 16, when we brought Alter to the market and we opened a conversation, the level of skepticism, hesitation, and resistance was still at its peak. The category was looking for a conversation, and I think the one advice I got from a strategic team that was helping me was talk to the consumer. Don't talk to the trade. Ask the consumer what is their choice. And I think when we look, Paul, from 16 to 22, what was interesting is between 16 to 17 was the first initial conversation. And I will always thank Borsheims for giving me, I had a call 8 days after we went to JCK and asked me to put a 6 feet footprint when we're barely trying to tell everybody the story or what the future is going to look like. Between 16 and 18 were the early adopters, entrepreneurs, retailers who wanted to say, you know what, we'll take the chance. In 18, the Federal Trade Commission's final guideline really broke the floodgate. Retail store sales went up because I think the biggest thing that happened was consumer confidence multiplied at that time. And I always say when we talk about the consumer, we have ownerships here, retailers. I think it's that salesman behind the counter. And what this did was the confidence of that salesman went up. It was not us educating, because our whole thought process in the beginning, and we've trained about 1,800 salespeople in person in US, Australia, and many countries. The conversation was educate your consumer and let them make a choice. And this journey from 16 to 18 was the opening. Of course, I think I always thank De Beers for bringing Lightbox to the category, because that was the acknowledgement of the existence of the category and the future of this industry. So I know many of us who were there were like, oh my God, what happened? And I remember that morning, I'm like, this is the best news that is going to accelerate this faster than what we had projected. If you look at it from a numbers perspective, the Morgan Stanley and Citibank numbers that were put out in 2050 for $150 million were broken already by then. So almost a category that was less than $10 million at retail in 2016 is today at over $5 billion. 18 to 19, the period, and I think 18 to 19, the category started tipping. You had the big stalwarts, the retailers already starting to look into it. And the 19 to 20, the COVID period, almost multiplied this. Today, the categories cross the chasm point, which is usually when it becomes permanent. This is here to stay. And I think I would always say that in any technological innovation, the consumer is the most powerful person in the room. And this is as an industry coming in. I grew up in a diamond jewelry family whereby I had the opportunity to leave the business, go do my master's, and my grandfather said, you were born in this business, you're going to be in this business. And I think when I came across the technology in 2005, it was like a kid in a candy store. I think looking at the future of this category, it's a consumer that's going to decide. When we look at between where we are to just even the next 3 years, I think the category is finally going to find its own way out. And I know there's this conversation every day about mind and lab, mind and lab. I think it's time to start seeing this as two independent categories in one big industry that's going to stand on its own feet, and design, desirability, and communication, along with branding, is going to determine its future. So I think you're the stats guy. You've always done numbers, yeah. And I adore, but I think in the next 3 years, you have $3 billion on the table for everybody to grab. And I think after that, you're just going to see that further multiply.
Right. Well, let's add on that. I think everybody would love to hear what Tejas has to think about this. You're the largest importer of jewelry into the U.S. The U.S. is the largest market for lab-grown overwhelmingly, it's probably over 3/4 of lab-grown diamond jewelry demand is in the US. Like Amish was saying, the product went from maybe 0% market share in 2016. It's now approaching 10% of total global diamond jewelry demand. So how do you kind of see this work into your business?
Yeah, so I agree with most of what Amish says, and I think it's 10% of global demand, but it's all coming to the US, so it's really 20% of US, right? And I think this has happened in probably quick 24 months. I think the first 10 years were kind of a soft start. And we don't see it stopping with any of our retailers. We see this in the next 3 years probably being 35% of the trade.
So maybe to add on that, how much overlap do you see? I mean, do you see this brand new incremental demand for lab-grown diamond jewelry, or do you see it how much of it is taking market share from natural in your opinion?
So there's absolutely cannibalization. A woman has one pair of earrings and 1 year, right? So you'll get some to shop a little bit more and buy a little bit more, but you're going to take from the natural space for sure.
And Sandy, I think we briefly talked about this. Natural diamonds is kind of the business that you're most passionate for, but you are in the lab diamond business as well. How do you kind of see, I guess, positioning this product? Customers want it. There's certainly a certain portion of the customer base that wants this product. So as being a diamond jewelry distributor, you kind of have to carry the product to a certain extent. So how do you kind of, I guess, manage that within your business?
Just want to mention 2 great points. One about let the consumer decide. One is don't disparage or don't say one is better than the other. Let the consumer decide what they want, because I go back to the first Rappaport conference, I don't know when it was, when Terry Berman at that time, the CEO of Signet, said that I support it as long as it's done with full disclosure. The best part about the American retail is that every single stakeholder is offering a choice in a most transparent way. And the consumer, as Amish said, is deciding it. And this is the first year, so as we all know, we carry both products. And it's slowly becoming a very, very integral part of our overall offering. I've been very fortunate not to be, and I know there are 99 other advantages of being a DTC side holder, but I'm very fortunate to be not a side holder or borrowing from the bank for decades, and they have the luxury of doing whatever our customer wants, identifying white spaces and offering what they want, but our consumer does want, and this is the first year we see, I personally see from my organization, a cannibalization of mine business by lab-grown business. And right now I feel I'm glad that we started this journey in 2019, and we are also learning a lot. I'm not saying there is no definitive answer and things will evolve, but it's here to stay.
Right. And then Anoop, you have a very innovative downstream, maybe more consumer-facing business with Clarity. How are you positioning the product? I know it's kind of a core product for you right now, and then what's the customer response you're seeing?
Sure. I think the direct-to-consumer space is very interesting. The barriers to entry have never been lower into this space. When I was a child, you typically had to be born into the diamond or the colored stone industry. That has materially changed over time. And I think the reason that's changed is twofold. One is that the supply chain bloat that existed no longer does. Access to India, for example, the largest exporter of diamonds and jewelry, has become easier than ever. The second component of this is technology and understanding the consumer mindset. Generation Z is actually now turning 27, right? That's the first kind of age where you get the mid-90s. Within the next 2 to 5 years, a significant percentage of them believe that they will be married, which means that jewelry becomes ever present in kind of the journey that people take in their lifestyle, especially American consumers. So I think it's very important to understand that with low barriers to entry, you have to be innovative in the way that you speak to them. You have to find the mediums that they want to talk in. One of the things that I mentioned at barriers to entry, I spoke to NBC Universal, who's starting a direct self-service platform for advertising. They said that, maybe 10 years ago, if you didn't have a $3 million budget to put on a TV ad, forget it, they don't want to talk to you. Today, for $25,000, you can go through connected TV and talk to any one of these consumers. That's what the world is becoming. It's becoming accessible. I think fragmentation is going to increase. I think having a true, authentic voice to this Generation Z is going to be more valuable than ever, and the story is going to have to be woven into the things they care about. Specifically, it's sustainability, environmentalism, climate change, world hunger. All of these things very closely touch our trade and our industry, and we just have to find ways to make sure that we're doing our part to support what they care about.
Great, thank you for those insights. Maybe moving on to the supply chain transparency, topic. This is something the industry's been kind of working on for years now, and it seemed to gain momentum over the last year in particular with the sanctions on Russian diamonds and the need to kind of segregate diamonds when we're talking about natural in particular. Sandy, how do you kind of view this? How far into the future do you think it's going to be when we start to see most natural diamonds that are maybe engagement ring size all come with an origin, and we can tell the customer where they came from, and we can maybe build a story and add branded value around that? So from a time frame standpoint, how far away do you think we are to that point?
Paul, I honestly believe when you talk about larger engagement ring stones, it's happening right now. It's the easiest thing to track, and most companies, especially DTC site holders, they have this ledger, and this technology has helped them track very easily. So I believe on the 50 points and above, 1 carat and above, it's already there. Any person that you reach out to will be able to pinpoint that where this stone came from and where it was manufactured, and et cetera, et cetera. So first of all, I think it's a must to boost the consumer confidence, and as we go into the future generation and engage the younger customer, I think this beautiful story needs to be told, and people would insist. People who are going to be successful are able to, the one who control the narrative and are able to actually tell this story. The problem starts, the challenge is with the smalls. And we have limited miners, and we have some geopolitical issues, and the American retailer, there are larger retailers who need the quantum in one quality, in one size, in one style that does amazingly well. And how do you translate that piece, and how do you tell that story that is a provenance, or it came from a Botswana mix or an Alrosa, so this is where, so people, I think what we should stress right now is ethical sourcing, transparency in our dealings, and we make a considerate choice that if I invest 100, I may not get 110 from my investment, but this is something that is necessary for this business to survive and prosper for generations. Like Jamie said, we make it a compelling buy for generations in the past as much as for, the way people have bought it in the past, let's make it a compelling buy for the future generations.
Yeah, Tejas, how important do you see this? Is this necessary for the survival of natural, especially I think when you look at it competing with lab-grown?
Absolutely. I think the industry needs to come together, and a lot of work has been done, but it's fragmented. The miners are doing their own bit. Retailers are doing a lot of responsible things, making their vendors do a lot of things, but it's not all aligned. And I think if they come together, the solution would be easier and simpler.
Okay. What about you, Anoop? You're working again direct to consumer. How important do you find this is to consumers, knowing the origin? And it could be with natural or lab-grown. We're seeing it with lab-grown now as well. Was it produced in China? Was it produced in the U.S.? So what are you saying on this front?
Yeah, it's become an absolute minimum requirement, and when you realize all the benefits of tracking and tracing, it actually could be both an economic value add as well as a consumer value add. So I think that it's, not only was it relevant then, but it's become a requirement now as part of any direct-to-consumer business. If you don't know your own supply chain or where your product is sourcing or coming from, it's very hard to then show a consumer why that they should be living in your brand ethos or in your product ethos.
Great. And then, Amish, I think we're talking about, transparency and being able to show the origin of a diamond. We're going to probably see that on a grading, a GIA cert. With lab-grown, how important is grading, I think, as we get into the future and the qualities, become higher, with the technologies improving. And I guess, how do you see, origin of a lab-grown, playing a role in all of this?
See, today's consumer is socially, environmentally, and economically responsible. So when we talk about provenance, when we talk about climate, all of these are no longer an optional conversation. it's a part of who the lab-grown industry needs to be. From a traceability perspective, this is an absolute requirement. It's no longer optional. From growing, cutting, polishing, designing, and then finally bringing it to the retailer, or if you're directly distributing, it is an absolute, it's possible, and it's an absolute requirement. Because technology today is aiding that, when we talk of larger diamonds in the mind, it's become much easier. In the smaller diamonds, and as we know, luxury brands are stepping into the category, especially in the lab-grown category, and we deal with them. And the absolute requirements, be it a one-pointer, they need traceability. They need to make sure that the diamonds are either grown with renewable energy and or offsets. Offsets is anyway looked down, but with a carbon reduction plan. They want to make sure that the facilities where these diamonds are being cut, polished, are approved for quality of, basically the social responsibility part has been taken care of. And then further, when you're doing jewelry, the gold conversation, which nobody really talks about, is a very important conversation, as jewelers. So in the lab-grown category, I see this as the most amazing opportunity for the industry. I think we have to pick up exactly where the lab-grown, the earth mine industry has brought it, and almost turbo it, because what the lab-grown industry can do in 12 months, and I'm working with either growers, the energy guys, the tracing companies. What we can do in 12 months, it will take at least 3 years for the earth mine category to get there. And it's not that they can't do it, it's just the challenges they have as an established category. So I think for brands that are direct to consumer, for boutique brands, or for larger retailers, this, I believe, in the next 12 months, if a retailer says, I will no longer take supply unless you can show origin, I would tell the community, do not be surprised.
Good, thank you for that insight there. I guess we'll get to the final point here, branding at a product level. Tejas, kind of curious what your thoughts are here. We're seeing this continue to be such a fast-growing area. How hard is it to build a brand that consumers really are loyal towards and want to associate with?
So, as we saw in the presentations, India is a powerhouse when it comes to the amount of polish it gives, and you wonder why there are no companies that are aligned with this on the branding and the retail perspective. And I think, Jamie, you would agree that it takes a lot of patience to build a retail business and a brand, right? So, and Indians traditionally have been transaction-driven. They need to make money on every trade, and that needs to change. And if it does, I think we'll see a lot of Indian brands come up and do that.
Yeah, Sandy, please.
No, brand is not my subject, so I'm not going to. But I just want to go back to. I'm going to go back to the earlier point, and I'm not trying to endorse RJC here, but we are members of 7 years. So when I make this statement, I want to make this disclaimer. I think all of us should make that choice to start there, to become part of RJC members. It is intimidating, but when you go through that 50 steps, most companies are observing 45 of them. And the 5 that they are not are pretty easily manageable to overcome. I'm going to give you a smallest example. I should have a fire extinguisher in my office, or put a yellow tape on top of the walk-in wall that I have so that people don't fall. I mean, there are some minor, some little bit major to overcome, but I think that would be the great step towards achieving ethical sourcing, eventually, to Amish's point, to provenance, to when a retailer makes it a must, that would be a great start. There would be some challenges that can be worked out, but even if we can achieve 50, 70, 80% of the way we work and ensure a consumer what we are delivering to them, I think it would be a great win for the industry, diamond and jewelry industry.
Very good point there. Anoop, what are your thoughts on the branding topic?
I think, Tejas, you hit it on the head. So traditionally, American businesses have benefited from low cost of capital, where Indian businesses had very heavy weighted average cost of capital and believed in very asset-heavy models. So the idea was, why tell a story when you can buy a product? Given that the shelf life of gold and commodity-driven products is so high, it ultimately became a no-loss proposition, where you could inevitably liquidate and recover a majority of that cost. Therefore, people in that trade traditionally tended to not build brands, but build products or product services. And I think that that is something that we all sort of have to become attuned to. The lab-created diamond actually is, given that the downward pressure on price over time has happened so fast, it's made us all a little bit more brand conscious. It's made us all realize that we do have shelf life to our product, and therefore potentially we do need to innovate in order to sustain our margins and to do other things that allow our businesses to thrive. So brand is more important than ever today, and I think the disruption to the product part of the industry is proving that.
I think we were talking about this before the event, but why hasn't there been a mainstream, say, downstream Indian brand that has big global distribution or recognition?
I think when I look at the 75 years of the Indian history, when you look at the first 2-3 quarters, and then you look at each 25 years, I think we evolved as a component manufacturer. Diamonds used to come in through various Burma and that, and I think some of the seniors might know that the core, I remember from my granddad's time, that the rough used to enter from Burma into India, and Kolkata was the core hub of diamonds being consumed in India, and Israel was a key cutting center. But when you look at evolution from there, in the 70s, was when India started manufacturing. The manufacturing firms in India started establishing, we started learning to cut. Evolution from purely the hand cutting to where in the 90s where you see the paramedic machines get into this conversation, and that moves ahead. Then was the birth of seeps, which is the jewelry category. The jewelry category in the earlier days, like how Ronnie said, the Indians were primarily a supporter or service. They used to service loose diamonds, either sell it to a New York wholesaler, and they saw a value addition in jewelry. These factories that established in the late, I remember in 87, 88, one of the first factories in seeps was established. It was doing electroforming. And from electroforming, I remember myself going into seeps from 91 and starting to work in when the first wax setting machines, actually the units were imported. So that entire decade was Indians learning jewelry. So, when you look at the entire supply chain, so we have now learned how to cut diamonds. We're getting better at that. Then we learned how to make jewelry. But we were still very far from where the consumer is. India was considered a low-cost center. And I think India had the benefit. And I think every senior person in this room took the best benefit of that, built the strongest companies, and serviced the retailers. When you look at the next phase, which is the early 2000s, margins in business always force you to innovate. And while we were starting to get better in jewelry, evolution pushed it to start moving into better in jewelry. The offices in New York between the late 90s and the early 2000s, Indian houses from India opened offices. And then now they're working directly with the retailers, and the New York wholesalers started moving out, and Israel was almost losing most of its manufacturing. India moved to almost 92% diamond cutting. Seeps became the core hub. If you were a large retailer, like Signet or any other large player, be it an e-com or as such, you were associated with a manufacturer. Moved to 2010 to 2020, and this is something I'd said in one of the panels, I think what you have to see is as a manufacturer, you keep innovating yourself, hoping to improve your margins or sustain them. And this leads and forces you to keep moving ahead. By then, you have now the third generation entering in the space that is far more educated in Western countries and learning and understanding the global trade. Today, as you see, brands like what Anup is building, and so many brands that have rooted in from the Indian jewelry families are starting to come out, and you'll see in their early phases of the first 5 years. This is bound to grow. And I believe that it is important because the two centers of margin, and I know this is more business, but yes, the two centers of margin are producer, grower, or the retailer. The midstream, according to Bain, if you look at it, the last 2 decades, we have almost a 0.5% negative value addition to the category. So realistically, if you're looking to add value, You have to enter this space. So this is like the underlying conversation, according to me, why that aspirational part is going to come, why Anup and the younger entrepreneurs are doing. Lab-grown diamonds coming to the category further fires this up. Because now you're not attached to a controlled supply chain. Now, the digital world is saying, you know what, you do not have to be a major investor, you don't need a big company, you can, if you know how to talk to the consumer, welcome to the party. And if you take these two things and you use the expertise of the Indian jewelry manufacturers in India, and India right now, when you look at large diamonds, anything over 1 carat plus in the lab-grown segment, especially in CVD, because it's almost 99% CVD, is controlling almost 85% of the global supply. So you're looking at every single component coming from home base. You have the entrepreneurs that are ready to talk to the consumer. So I think in the next decade, I think the way I would see it is, it's not about where we are today. I think in the next decade, if we said 10 years from today, you would see Indian brands having a strong conversation, be it Europe, Australia, Americas, with the consumer, and building value-based propositions. You know, we all aspire, we look at the Tiffany's and that have 100-year-old stories, and you know, they are great aspirations, but everything that happened in 100 years is now probably going to happen in 25 and 10 if you know how to make it. So that's my thought process.
Well said. Maybe I'm getting to the final topic here. I think we're running out of time. But Sandeep, you and I were kind of talking about 2021 was a record year for the industry, for everybody. Everybody probably can explain why it was such a good year. Everybody has their own story. But looking forward, how do you think the industry can build on that momentum? You know, kind of closing out 2022, looking to 2023, 2024, given the uncertain macroeconomic backdrop. And I guess we can speak maybe to the U.S. market in particular, since I know that's kind of where you're focused.
The good news is that, you know, in 2021, every single stakeholder in the diamond and jewelry industry benefited, you know, irrespective of what end of the trade you were part of. People had a good year, and we all know the reasons. You and me can sit down and write down 20 reasons for it. And some of those are the same reasons why we are seeing a slowdown right now, especially in the second half, you know, between the geopolitical situation and the stimulus money, et cetera, et cetera. But on a continuous basis to maintain the momentum, I believe there are two choices. One that we've been talked about for last decade is, you know, miners taking a percentage of the cost of the rough at the primary level, add it, and mark that money, you know, devise a plan how to market diamond and jewelry, every category of diamond and jewelry industry across the world based on the proportion, and I'm sure there are smart people who can figure that out. That would be a great start. And again, all of us, in a conscious way, between product innovations to engaging youth to consistent and relentless marketing and telling some beautiful stories about, you know, how the diamonds are made, how the jewelry is manufactured, the people who manufacture their stories, and bringing some beautiful products. And that would be two ways that I would suggest that we keep the momentum going on a long-term basis and keep the consumer engaged to buy this beautiful category on an ongoing basis.
Well said. Tejas, what's your kind of prediction here? I think, you know, 2022, you know, there are speculation that we could have a year that's comparable to 2021. I think a lot of that's because of 8% inflation, so on a nominal basis it looks better than it does on a real basis. But as far as just, you know, trend momentum going into 2023, what are your kind of thoughts?
So if we keep everything status quo, we're going to have a tough time. Right? So as Sandeep said, it's marketing, bringing the customer in, having innovation where you know, it's a pull for the customer. The wallet and the money is limited. You're going to fight for the category. If you're better than the rest, I think we'll have a good year. I wanted to go back to your brand, just put one thought in there. We as Indians, we polish 90% of the world's diamonds, and we're thrilled about it, and we celebrate that, which is great. But the retail industry is 200 billion. So I wonder why we just keep looking at the 25 billion, right? I think there's 90% still to go for it. I think guys like Anup, I think so, are heading in the right direction. And I think there's something to think about.
I just wanted to add one thought to this is just generally, as we understand, I think one important statistic I found was about 200,000 Indian students are in the United States at any given time. And they contribute about $8 billion annually to the United States. Now, we need to do more to take that, because of what they do, how well educated they are, who they are, we need to find ways to keep them here. How do we get them to contribute their ideas? They have ties back to India. They understand our manufacturing prowess, our technology prowess. So, what we can do to increase, accessibility to visas, other things, goes a very long way in terms of acquiring, procuring, and keeping that talent here.
I think everybody's getting hungry, but anybody have any final thoughts here?
We have another 15 minutes.
There you go. We got 15 minutes.
Great. Well, this is a diplomatic event, right? What would you like to see, the governments, the American government and the Indian government do to maybe support, our businesses? I think things to incentivize lab-grown diamond industry with subsidies on energy and financing of capital equipment. Are these the sort of things that you think we need to be seeing in the industry right now?
Yes, I think I'm going to be bold to ask and say it. When we look at the fine jewelry industry, again, look at the last 2 decades, one of the big points of growth was the early 2000s, and most people here in the room will remember when the tariff was taken off. When the tariff was taken off, there was a multifold growth between the trade between India and US. Not only that, when you take the inflation number that you're sitting today and you actually take the tariff out, keep a very small part of it and you pass it to the consumer, you're going to have a dual impact. So I think that is the one big conversation which I'm in no position to have with the governments, but the governments are very much in a position to have with each other, that how do you take the advantage of the largest manufacturing base in the world with the largest consumer place. The second one is look at how fast and aggressively India is moving towards an energy conscious country. Today we've reached 100% renewable for every diamond we grow. We've gone scope 1, scope 2 with carbon, and many companies are making as aggressive of a move to be there. When you look at that, look at the state of Gujarat, and I don't even know, because most of us are from there, and I believe that most of them don't know. Did you know that 27% of energy used in the state of Gujarat actually comes from renewable sources? And they are pushing that further. So when you look at the American consumer who's environmentally conscious, you buy anything, go from a pair of socks to yesterday in the Women's Wear Daily, and I landed late night and I got an article in about where the red carpet's going next year, and it was about a conversation of Oscars 23, and it's a sustainable dress. And somebody had reached out, messaged me, he's like, we should have a piece of jewelry that represents and should be worn for this dress. So I said, okay, let's catch up. But that's where it's heading. So if the two countries get together and say, wait a second, you're going faster after exactly what we need, and we will give you a tariff break. And this is where I'm going to make a bold ask, is if the US and Indian government work together to put a tariff break for diamonds and fine jewelry imported into the United States and or India that are manufactured by the other country, that are either carbon neutral, made with recycled components, and or with energy efficiency, I think it would be fantastic. You go buy an electric car, you get a rebate. You want to put solar panels, like just Google solar, and the companies in New York will be after you, you don't have to pay anything. So why not the jewelry industry? This is an amazing opportunity. And yes, we're a small industry, we're smaller than the pet industry. But even as a small industry, we have the ability to make a movement. Means, they say a ship takes a lot to turn. So in all the bigger ships, if you look at the jewelry industry, we're like a speedboat. That if the governments get together and say that will reduce the tariff, forget taking away, because otherwise they'll say, okay, the budgets don't match. We'll reduce the tariffs, but then think of how much you're going to increase the imports and improve the geopolitical relationship within the country. So that's how I help the business to help the country and help the consumer.
Anybody Anybody else have any thoughts you'd like to add?
I just want to share something that recently UAE removed a 5% import duty, to Amish's point, to import gold from India. And India reciprocated by reducing 0.5% duty from gold imported from UAE. You know, India, if I'm not mistaken, is the second largest consumer of gold in the world. And that 0.5% to the Indians means so much in terms of dollars and cents. It is not quantifiable. It is quantifiable, it is big. And now India is working with Australia, UK, and many other countries for such bilateral treaties, two largest democracies in the world. With the recent geopolitical situation, with what's happening in the rest of the world, and some of the nations are not preferred nations anymore. Forget about sanctioned nations. These are the two countries who can sit, resolve their differences. It's easy for me to say remove the tariff on jewelry, but whatever it is, give and take, do something, do some reciprocative action, take some reciprocative actions, and it would be good. In the end, the consumer would benefit, and the business would definitely grow from where it is today. So, good point, Amish. I agree. There are a number of ways.
I wanted to add something interesting. The UAE has also removed the tariff on lab-grown diamonds, a tariff that was specifically pushed by the stalwarts, which is in different countries. Actually, that tariff just got, because we had been working there, South Korea, a lot of places, these tariffs are now removed. So if you look at that whole conglomerate, about 15 countries, so gold and diamonds. And with UAE also, as of 23, is going into a very strong gold traceability program. Because I constantly speak with Ahmed, and their gold traceability program kicks in. And it's surprising to me, is if you look at everybody that's sitting in the room, we control most of the gold that flows into the industry. So that is where you can have a multifold impact, support the industry, help the geopolitical, and ultimately climate change, which is one of the biggest conversations out there. You can be a flag bearer as an industry, even if you're it's like we're the largest small industry that the governments can use to talk.
That 0.5% has suddenly made UAE the preferred importer of gold in India right now.
True.
Okay, how are we doing on time? Does anybody, are we satisfied or do we want some more?
There you go.
You can have a question on
Who's not ready?
Let us start.
Sorry, what was it?
Yeah, I'll start with Tejas. Let's go to let's see. Just final thoughts, final remarks. You want a minute to think?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what about anything you do? I know that the D2C business, as far as government support, kind of in the this event, what would you like to see? What would help your
I would firmly encourage two things. One is investment capital going towards startups. The innovation and ideas that come from new and non-legacy businesses will go a very long way for this industry as it has for the tech industry. The second area I would encourage is we tend to be a manufacturing-heavy industry, which means that we hire a certain level of skill for labor. But now with the advancements in education and the younger generation, not everyone is going to become a doctor or a lawyer or whatever be the case, or financier. We can bring a lot of that talent into the jewelry industry. And it's very important to encourage kind of this generation that's coming forward to see what innovations they can bring on the business side here. I think one really important thought was there was a very interesting business school class, and the professor sort of said, look around, not all of you are going to make it, and everyone was confused, and it was, well, because you all are competing for that same investment banking job. The reality is that you will succeed the best when you take your education and apply it to more traditional industries, such as the jewelry business, and be able to take it forward and become a pioneer and an innovator.
I think all of us have had, most of us have had a a long, to say it very humbly, a rewarding journey in this industry. The industry has been good to all of us. I think time has come where we make some conscious choices which are not necessarily financially rewarding, but very essential for the future, the growth, success, relevance, importance of our industry, not just in USA, but everywhere. And I think collectively, individually and collectively, these measures would really put our industry into limelight, and a product that we will deliver will be a desired product for the right reasons.
Last chance here.
I think, in simple words, I would say that if I speak on behalf of the category, I think we're sitting with an amazing opportunity. I think, just like what Sandeep was just saying, look at what can we do, what can we give back, and I think the climate conversation, which is one of the biggest conversations, if this industry can take the necessary steps, which is actually possible, it would completely change the conversation at the consumer front. So that's the first part. And the second part is, I think, growing up in the business, we were always dependent on somebody talking on our behalf to the consumer, which is the producers and that. I think it's better to start focusing on building brands and or work with your retailers that are talking to the consumers and start creating stories. Because especially when I look at the lab-grown industry, I think, there's this conversation about pricing and that. I think the conversation of pricing is an absence of value. And this is what, as an industry, because we come from a component background, you buy it for $1, you add value, you sell it for $1.10. So it's always been price driven. But the moment you put the price away and you say, okay, what can I do? It's like I'd seen this thing on Instagram and it caught me and I love it. It says, you're focusing too much on the product. Start thinking about how you can create value. And it's important as manufacturers, growers, jewelry manufacturers, and partners to retailers that we need to start looking outside. Like, I draw usually a ring. This is the product. If this had no value, what do I do and how big can I draw a circle off of value? And I think as an industry, if we transition into that direction, it takes time. But as we transition into this direction, we will see value, we'll see investors, and we'll see people giving far more respect to this industry than we currently have. So that's...
Okay, good. Is that the final thought? Thank you for this fantastic panel. Very interesting conversation indeed. So let's give everybody a round of applause.
Thank you so much to our panelists and our moderator. I think what I learned from all of this is sky is the limit for this industry. So I wish you all the very, very, very best as you take our name forward. I would actually like to request Paul, Amish, and Anoop to just stay on the stage if that is okay. And I'd also like to call upon the stage Mr. Rajiv Pandya to present them some awards. I also call on the stage Manoj Bhandari.
The Indian Diamond and Colorstone Association. This token of appreciation presented to Paul Zeminski, diamond industry analyst and consultant, the moderator for the IDCA U.S. Jewelry Industry Symposium panel, IDCA.
Thank you. To honor Mr. Amish Shah, may I please call upon the stage Anshul Shah?
And Colorstone Association, this token of appreciation is presented to Mr. Amish Shah, President, Alter Created Diamonds, panelist IDCA U.S. Jewelry Industry Symposium, IDCA.
And to present the award to Anup Shah, may I please call upon the stage Tavneet Chordia.
The Indian Diamond and Color Stone Association, this token of appreciation is presented to Anup Shah, Chief Executive Officer with Clarity, Inc., panelist IDCA Jewelry Industry Symposium, IDCA.
Thank you, everyone. The event today, this trade symposium, I believe, is way more than just all of us gathering. I think today we learned a lot about the industry and we learned from a lot of intellectual individuals, so it's been amazing. So a huge round of applause for all of you for being here today with us. And I have just my best wishes for this industry. I hope you prosper, and I hope you grow and keep on growing and keep on making all of us proud. So thank you again. May I please call upon the stage now Rutali Gandhi, the Secretary of IDCA, for the vote of thanks.
You're supposed to ask for a piece of jewelry. You're supposed to ask for a diamond
Yes.
or a piece of jewelry.
Oh, yes, may I have it? Anybody, just find me after this event. I'm totally open to all types of jewelry.
Stay right here. Can we give a big round of applause to our dear MC for today? She did a beautiful job, as always. And I want to congratulate all the honorees for today, and I just want to reiterate which stuck in my head and heart what Jamie said previously, and this statement goes to all the men sitting in this room. Make sure your wives and daughters' wardrobes are full as bags with the jewelries. So thank you, Jamie, for giving that statement. I love it.
Rutali?
Thank you, Aditi. So on behalf of the board of IDCA, I'd like to thank all of our guests, dignitaries, the Consul Trade, Mr. Manish Kolhari, and our members for joining us today. Our program is now concluded, and we'd like to request everybody to head downstairs for a delicious lunch. And just as a last note, if I could have all of our honorees, our dignitaries, board members, past presidents, and panelists on stage for a quick picture. Thank you, and enjoy lunch.